Hello, Michael Swain here, coming to you from Mizzou Arena about an hour and a half after KU basketball's 95-67 win over Missouri. And wow, what a performance from Kansas. By far KU's best showing of the season so far. Just a complete team performance, and so many different players I think stood out in so many different ways. And I think you got to go from the start. Grady Dick. I mean, for someone playing in their first college basketball road game, to come out and start by knocking down your first 5 shots from the field, score 12 points early on, it really set KU up for success today. This was the type of game that you felt like Kansas had to get up early. KU had to play with the lead, really minimize what this Missouri crowd could do in terms of having an impact on the game, right? This is, for a lot of these players, this is their first true road game. You think about all the freshmen KU has, but even guys like KJ Adams and Bobby Pettiford. This is really the first time they've been relied upon in a true road game like this. And I think Grady Dick came out and really set the tone from the get-go. Just impressive. And he shows that killer instinct that NBA players show, and he's going to do that. He's going to go on and play in the NBA. That's how good of a scorer he is. That's how good of an athlete he is. And just an impressive start to the game. But then you go from there, and late in the first half, right, it's KJ Adams all of a sudden. And talk about growth over the course of, the first month of the season, and KJ Adams exemplifies that. Early on, really struggled to score, right? Was averaging 6 points per game over the first 7 games of the season. But ever since KU got back from the Bahamas, he's averaging in double digits. And I think today was the perfect example of what maybe success might look like for Kansas with KJ Adams at the 5. It's those pick and rolls, the short rolls. Postgame, Bill Self compared KJ to a bit of a young Draymond Green, where he's good at finishing around the rim. He's a good enough athlete to make up for maybe the lack of size that he has. And today you saw it. And I think for me, the passing is maybe the most impressive aspect of what KJ Adams has shown, where at times he makes really good passes out of those short roll situations. And that's exactly what you saw from him today. And you look at him going on to score, 19 points, career high. Just, he's someone that if he all of a sudden is going to bring you double-digit scoring every single game, that's just going to elevate this team, because it's going to alleviate the pressure off of Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick, and even Kevin McCullough too. So I think for me, if you're going to pick out a player of the game, I think it does have to be KJ Adams, just because what he did was take advantage of what Missouri did, right? Missouri pressures the ball a lot. They try and force steals. They came into the game forcing the most steals in terms of percentage than anyone in the country. And Kansas did a really good job of not turning the ball over a ton. They had some careless turnovers, but they really managed the pressure well, and I think KJ Adams was that safety valve at times. And then you look at someone like DeJuan Harris, really managing that pressure from the start. He only took 2 shots and yet really controlled the game. 9 assists for him, playing in front of his hometown. His family was here. You see, he had 20 members of his family here that got tickets through him. That doesn't include people that bought their own tickets. And so for DeJuan Harris, a really good performance. And then in the second half, right, it's Jalen Wilson, and Kevin McCullough showed up all game. And I think overall, collectively, this is the best performance Kansas has had all season. And if they can replicate this type of performance on the road, or even get percentage points of this team's going to win a lot of road games this year. And I think you learned a lot about where this Kansas team is at right now. And now they get another week to prepare before another test in Indiana. But I think this is a team that took advantage of the opportunity, really managed the emotions of the game well, and showed maybe a lot more maturity than some of the ages and the classes might show. So overall, I think a really impressive performance for Kansas. Now it's about, can you manage and build off of it, right? Indiana, a top 10 program, is going to come to Allen Fieldhouse next week. It's going to need another big-time performance. But for this one in particular, I think you saw all the things that can make Kansas a really good team and a dangerous team when it comes to challenging for a Big 12 title. There are still some concerns, but I think this is a game you focus on a lot of the positives and the things that Kansas did well. So make sure you stay tuned to Phog.net. We've got all sorts of coverage up there for you, and we'll have plenty more coming in the days ahead.